Saquon Barkley has shocked the football world. Nobody knew what it was going to look like when he was announced to the Philadelphia Eagles. What would happen next has resulted in arguably the greatest running back season ever. He's close to on pace to beat Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record of 2,105 yards. He's over 1,800, 13 touchdowns, leads the league in yards after contact, most rushes of 10+ yards, utter dominance. He has a unique style, different than most running backs, so today we'll dive into what that style is and what makes this Eagles rushing attack so dynamic. But before we do, I want to thank this season sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports site where you can pick players every day. They have any sport you can think of, almost any stat you can think of. If you want to make sports even more fun and win money doing it, PrizePicks is what's up. To play, you choose 2 to 6 players and select whether they go more or less than their projection. I'll take a pair of backs this week. Rachaad White has gotten enough targets that his number looks pretty small. And the Finns have been ride or die with Devon Achane, and they need this one bad. PrizePicks has the fastest withdrawals of any daily fantasy app. You load her up, you are done super quick. They're also doing a deal where if you put in my promo code Rollins, you put in just $5, they will give you $50 for free. That's promo code Rollins. There are 2 unique elements to Saquon and the Eagles' rushing attack. The Eagles' offensive line creates the most space of any line in the NFL. According to Fantasy Pros, Saquon averages 3.8 yards before contact, best in the league, which gives him time to hit his signature jump cut where he can widen his gait yet still maintain speed and power. Usually, when running backs get too wide like this, they lose their legs since their core is unsupported, and they can't be as explosive with their feet because they need their legs to be in position. For Saquon, he's still just as powerful, able to finish through defensive linemen, and he's still just as quick. He can accelerate instantly even with his gait as wide as John Mara's frown. This space created allows him to drop his weight and jump cut optimally. You can't do this if the defensive line is penetrating into the backfield immediately. So the Eagles line gives him the necessary space to execute his style of running, and it's definitely worked. The jump cut gives him access to every gap along the line of scrimmage. So while most backs are gonna hop just 1, maybe 2 over, Saquon can go multiple gaps to find the open hole. He is deadly, and when matched with this line, this scheme, and Jalen Hurts, the Eagles are nearly unstoppable. Saquon being paired with a quarterback who can execute the zone read is what takes Philly to the next level. We've talked before how you always want one more defender in the box than the offense's blockers. That's because your gaps sound, meaning you have a defender to fill each gap, so nobody has to guard 2. And also, if each blocker successfully connects on their blocks, the math still works out that you have one free defender to roam to find the running back. Here the Eagles have 6 blockers with the tight ends, and the Giants have 7 with the safety rotated down to give them the advantage. The problem is, because Hurts is also a running threat, the Eagles can leave one of these defenders unblocked, so Hurts can keep the ball if he goes for Saquon, or give the ball if he sits upfield for Hurts. So now we just have to block 6 with our 6, instead of blocking 7 with 6. Saquon can either hit these runs right up the gut downhill like we just saw, or he can drop his weight to jump cut to find a hole like we just talked about. To defend the same concept, the Commanders blitz Bobby Wagner into the same gap to attack Saquon, and force the give read by keeping Dorrance Armstrong for Hurts. Well, this shows Saquon's ability to show off his incredible vision by pressing holes and seeing through the defensive line. Watch him press the A-gap, but it's a trap. There's fool's gold in the A-gap where Jerzon Newton is hiding. If Saquon immediately jump cuts, Newton could push down the line of scrimmage. Frankie Louvu would be unblocked too. So he presses the gap till the very last minute and sproings over, turning a dead play into a nice gain. I also want to highlight the Eagles' O-line in this video too, specifically Jason Kelce's replacement Cam Jurgens, cause he is ridiculous. Newton is supposed to be guarding the A-gap here. Well, look how much displacement happens. Newton is sent to Narnia. So the Commanders say, okay, we're going to blitz the hell out of that side and make sure nobody is going to run up the gut, nobody is going to be able to pull the ball and run for a gain, so the Eagles adjust and rip them. Instead of inside zone like we saw on the Giants play, the Eagles can run outside zone 2, where Saquon sets his track at the hip of Lane Johnson, and look at how he doesn't need to cut back or adjust at all. Cam Jurgens and Mekhi Becton execute a perfect single block, which is a front-side zone combo block between the center and guard, and if you give Saquon or any running back this lane, it's game over. Defenses are terrified of the size and power of the Eagles line, so they know if they're constantly getting double teamed, they have no shot in hell. So if you run blitz the line, they can't single block, but once again, look at the displacement Jurgens gets, Saquon's vision, the jump cut, and the house call for 6. What's really fun about this ground game is their ability to play many different styles, where they can beat you in many different ways. They can run duo right up the middle from pistol or under center, where Saquon just gets downhill ASAP, or they could run the spread him out college offense, where they force the defense to pick their poison and then kill them. The spread running game is all about numbers. The Eagles put 3 receivers to the bottom, another up top, to see what the Giants do. The Giants elect man coverage on A.J. Brown and use a style of zone coverage, a box check with these 4 defenders to adequately cover the Eagles' bunch formation, so Hurts can count to 6, and while he only has 5, knows he can read the defensive end, giving the Eagles the 5-on-5 advantage, and Saquon shows his exceptional speed up the sideline. What's cool about the spread running game is that anything you do, especially against a team this good, it's gonna be wrong. Let's say they play man coverage across the board, well, you still just have 6 in the box. If you bring the linebacker Bobby Okereke over to give a 7-on-5 advantage, now Hurts can throw his screen pass with just 2 defenders for 2 blockers and the receiver. If you pull the safety down to defend that, now you have no deep help for any of these 3 guys, and oh yeah, by the way, A.J. Brown is one-on-one in man coverage for any of these ideas, so that is a gigantic problem in itself. Lastly here, the Eagles are able to run so many different concepts with their diverse offensive line. Jurgens is able to loop around for a cornerback, the backup guard Tyler Steen can cut off a block going a long way. For a line with as much power as they have, they are also incredibly agile. They know they're gonna win one-on-one, so by using scheme to make sure they are one-on-one, their players will always win. Check how they put 2 tight ends to the same side as Saquon Barkley. The Packers have no choice but to overload that side of the formation with bodies. They need guys to defend the tight ends, one to crash for Saquon, one to sit for Hurts, so the Eagles know they can just run weak, away from the strong side, away from all the bodies, and Saquon goes untouched into the end zone. Yes, this is a Saquon video, but once again, look at Jurgens. It's him and Becton on 3-time Pro Bowler Kenny Clark, and they blow his cheeks straight out of the water. This last play that I just had to watch over and over was this explosive run with the Eagles up 30-14, just 4 minutes left to go. On 3rd and 5, the Rams have 10 in the box, not 6, not 7, 8, 9, 10, and yet Saquon shows his explosiveness, follows his guard and tight end, and beats every last one of them. The Philadelphia Eagles are getting hot at the perfect time heading into the postseason. They are potentially the 1 seed in the NFL, so the playoffs would run through them, and it's mostly on the back of this Saquon-led run game. He is able to use his superpower, dropping his weight to jump cut towards a completely different side of the field, and his explosiveness, his speed, his strength at the point of attack, all of the things that make him good have culminated to make him unstoppable. Pair it all with an elite and diverse offensive line, a running and passing threat at quarterback with Jalen Hurts, an elite receiver in A.J. Brown who could beat any one-on-one, a great number 2 as well, and the Eagles have all the makings of a champion. Just a few years back, they barely fell to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl while having a similarly dominant year. The difference this season, well, yeah, back then they scored 35, they didn't have Saquon. They didn't have a guy who can jump cut and send you into oblivion, a guy who can outrace anybody on the field, a guy who's an explosive, dynamic closer in the backfield. They didn't have Saquon Barkley. So if there ever was a year for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, it's right here, right now.